Mom, Dad, I humbly suggest you save some money and shop Amazon for back to school. It's for my growth, meaning my body's growing at an alarming rate. And clothes you buy me this year will be very small very soon. Plus, the clothes I love today will be out of style tomorrow. But at least your wallet doesn't have to be my fashion victim if you shop low prices for school at Amazon. Hopefully this is helpful. Amazon. Spend less, smile more.
Do you like to laugh, geek out on music, and learn all about that band or artist who had that one song back in the day, but then seemed to fall off the face of the earth? If so, you need to subscribe to One Hit Thunder. Together with an array of interesting and hilarious guests, we do a weekly dive into one-hit wonders like Eiffel 65's Blue, Krayshawn's Gucci Gucci, EMF's Unbelievable, Delamitri's Roll to Me, Los Del Rio's Macarena, Musical Youth's Pass the Dutchie, and even Patrick Swayze's She's Like the Wind. So are you subscribed to One Hit Thunder or what? As Desiree would say, you gotta be. And as K7 would encourage, you gotta come, baby, come and join in on the fun of the One Hit Thunder podcast.
Come, baby, come, baby, baby, come, come. Come, baby, come, baby, baby, come. Well, there's a party each and every year on Christmas Eve, where the fun and cocktail shrimp don't seem to end. Clark and Ralphie taking turns on the TV screen, laughing, singing, yelling with all of our friends. Well, it's Christmas, and let the parties go spread the holiday cheer, 'cause it's Christmas. Oh, it's the best time of the year. Let's go fake reindeer.
Hey, Dylan.
Hey, Matt.
So coming up very soon is the long-awaited Alien movie.
Yes.
And I thought, what better tie-in than if we were to talk about the second most popular alien in pop culture history, Gordon Shumway, a.k.a. ALF, which stands for Alien Life Form.
Would you say he's the second most
I don't know. He got
popular?
invited to the White House in the 80s, so he
In the
was,
80s.
I mean...
Okay.
At the popular of ALF, I mean, I'll tell you that the ALF video we did for Geekscape's YouTube channel, Geekscape TV, is still among like one of the 4 most popular videos we've ever posted, which was the history of ALF.
I will say this was a very different show than I was anticipating.
No, well,
while
and,
I was watching it.
and with good reason. The creator of ALF wanted this show to feel different. This was an hour-long episode. It was normally a 22-minute sitcom. This was also single camera shot on actual, like, on location as opposed to like filming in sets. So I think he wanted this to have a little bit more of a serious cinematic look. And boy, did he at least get it. Does it get serious? Do we want to dive into the episode first, or do we want to dive into the true story behind the inspiration of the episode first?
I will say, big reveal at the end did catch me off guard, where I was like, oh, this is like based on some real shit.
So let's start there,
let's start there. Go for it.
So at the peak of Alf's popularity, which the voice and the puppeteering of Alf is also the creator of the show, Paul Fesco.
Okay.
He, at the peak of Alf's popularity, was regularly getting requested to do Make-A-Wish visitations. And Tiffany Lee Smith, who the character in this episode is based on, was one of those particular girls. He said she was a 9-year-old from the Midwest that was suffering from leukemia and eager to come to face with her favorite Melmac citizen. And someone at the local NBC station arranged for kind of a video conference setup between her and her hospital bed and Alf in the studio. And he had the presence of mind to record it. And when the former NBC president saw it, he thought, we really need to build a Christmas special around this story.
I don't
love that. I don't love
that either. I don't love that was his go-to. Like, this is when he saw that, he was moved to tears. He thought, God damn, we can market it. We can market this.
No, seriously, it was like Like I get, but here's what I'll say
Yeah.
about this. I think this is a very uneven special.
I
will say, that the scenes specifically with Tiffany, regardless if it was an NBC president who made the decision, like we got to cash in on this, for this Christmas special, I do get the feeling that Paul was still very emotionally moved by his experience, like because those scenes, like, and we'll get in there, but like specifically with Alf saying "I love you, Tiffany" as he leaves her hospital room for what you think is the last time, like. I think that there's a lot of like real life emotion coming out of him through the puppet and through that scene that's like not seen in the rest of the stuff. There is a part of me that wants to believe that that was very much a thing that Paul insisted in having in that scene because I think he did carry that particular child in his heart after that experience. Like
very much so.
Those scenes are handled so delicately. Compared to a lot of the other heavy stuff that just seems absurd in comparison.
Bro, the other heavy stuff is, I don't even want to use the word balanced out because it's like we're having like a really heavy moment and then it's like, I mean, we literally talked about it. There's a moment where one of the characters in this episode's wife has passed away and he's like... and like as he's leaving, the mom
they ask him how Mrs. Foley. How's Mrs. Foley doing?
Mrs. Foley doing? He goes kind of silent, gets in his car, and literally as he's about to pull off, he goes, "She passed away a couple months ago. I didn't tell anyone." I didn't have time to write everyone. And starts pulling out. And as soon as I didn't have time to write everyone, deck the halls with boughs of holly. Dude, it is absolutely insane. And that's not the only part.
There's a couple moments like that.
We're dealing with the same characters kind of suicidal at the end. And as he is about to attempt suicide, Alf's doing a fucking bit.
It's weird. So the concept of this episode is that Willie, the father of the Tanners, has these memories of going up to this cabin in the woods for Christmas, and he wants to take his family up and have the same in the woods Christmas experience.
And it sucks, dude.
No, it's not great.
Nothing about this seems like it would be a good time.
There's actually a really good line from Alf where Alf mistakenly hands him what he thinks is holly to hang, and it's poison oak. And he runs to the water pump, which is the only way to get the water, and Alf just goes, "Seems like a really great time to have just had normal running water, huh?"
So this show is almost what I kind of feel like the Ted show was going for. Like I see a lot of comparisons there, that like sweet sarcastic a little bit in there. That was hilarious. But no, there's nowhere to plug in. You can't plug in a Christmas tree.
No,
you can't have lights on a Christmas tree at this cabin. I'm always for those memes where it's like, do you want to give up on everything and run away? And I'm like, yeah, as long as they have electricity and Wi-Fi.
A couple requirements. We got a couple requirements. Alf just like rolls in ruining Christmas left and right.
Oh, he's a dickhead in the beginning of this episode.
He's telling everybody what gifts they got. Like it's no good.
How long has he been on Earth?
So this is 2 years probably at this point.
So he should have some form of grasp on what Christmas is, right? If we're 2 years in,
well, maybe this is the first year.
Christian family.
I don't know how seasons work in relation to things, but this is either his first or second. He should have some grasp.
Such an asshole. We've had Christmas twice already. You know how this works.
But yeah, I want to read what I wrote in my notes about the scene that we just talked about, because I said, Mr. Foley tells him that his wife died, and then it's followed by the jolliest rendition of Deck the Halls I've heard in my entire life. It like, it's not even like it's a somber Deck the Halls. It is like full orchestra, like you're walking into Mitchell's, and it's just like blaring you like, you are here to buy stuff to make some Christmas decorations, motherfucker.
I feel like there was kind of a struggle in the 80s of what direction people wanted to take things, because Degrassi did very similar things in their early seasons, where they'll be like, I'm pregnant. I don't know if I'm ready to have a baby.
Yeah, it's almost like they were like, we want you to feel emotions, but we don't want you to be too sad because then you might turn off the TV and not see these sweet advertisements.
Yeah.
You know, minus the depressed to the point of wanting to kill himself. Mr. Foley, I mean, talk about some life goals. Just a dude who's like, hey, he repairs what people thought were broken toys and then goes to the hospital dressed like Santa to make sure that every kid gets like some Christmas spirit. It's like, fuck yeah, man. Like I hope that I can be of that level of like jolly. That's got to be hard.
Oh, that's got to be hard. Real difficult, man. Do you feel like the director and or writer of I'll Be Home for Christmas watched this special before he did that movie? There is very specifically a scene in that movie that I feel like draws a lot of influence from this particular episode of ALF.
Well, so Alf ends up in the back of Mr. Foles' truck.
Yeah.
Because I think that his plan is, I'll take a couple of those gifts to gift to the Tanners because I've ruined Christmas, and then ends up being stuck in the back of the van when he goes to the hospital. So he kind of just
because the dad pulled a like, get out, we don't want you here anymore.
Well, he said, take that deep into the woods and throw it away, and then he said, and don't rush back.
Yeah.
Which like, wow, what a diss. But he ends up
what an asshole. But at the same time, Alf is literally like
ruining everything.
Got you a bike. Well, it wasn't actually a bike. It was a bike set to put the bike together. And they're like, Alf, shut up. And he's like, what? I didn't tell him it was a red one. Like, fuck, man.
So,
you know what? Yeah, get out. Go away.
So Alf ends up in the hospital.
Yeah.
He's pretending to be a stuffed animal, and all these kids are taking their gifts. And then it ends up the last girl, Tiffany, takes Alf, thinking it's a female doll that she's named Amanda. And there is this other
nothing
bit.
Screams Amanda.
No.
This fucking alien.
But the one bit that I did get a nice chuckle out of was that she puts it in the other hospital bed in her room, which at first I'm like, why the fuck is there another hospital bed in this room?
That's where I'm at. Like,
but then we get an answer, which is so fucked up that we're going to talk about that in a second too. But she's like, oh, would you like to lean up? And she like starts just pushing the bed.
Do you want your feet up? And she fucking pushes the bed to where he's like an accordion.
But like, that shot of him just like getting sunk lower and lower as like the thing is pushing as close to the bed as possible got a little bit of a chuckle at me. But then I just wrote, can we talk for a second about this awful mother who decided to have her child removed from Tiffany's room because she didn't want him to be sad the roommate, when she eventually died.
She didn't want her to get attached.
Yeah.
She didn't want her to get attached. That is so fucked up.
It's the most, I was like, that is the most fucked up shit imaginable.
So we jump to her getting her temperature taken. I love that she uses a pen to take Alf's temperature. It's so cute. So she takes her temperature and like looks at her watch, takes the temperature out, and she's like, what's it say? And she's just like,
and then just leaves.
And I'm like, what the fuck? For multiple reasons. Number one, I know that this is a child. We can assume that she has been in here for a little bit. She's aware of her condition and stuff like that.
She has full conversations about her inevitable death.
Yes.
With Alf. She's not like, you don't have to keep her in the dark about
You don't have to keep her in the dark about her situation. But also, if the temperature was freaking out that much, she's going to notice if she has a high temperature.
Yeah. Also, I mean, look, this also breaks the logic of everything. Where are her parents on Christmas Eve?
That's true, too.
Like, why are her parents? Why is this nurse just taking a temperature for the doctor and no one else's information?
Yeah.
Like, if my daughter was sick in the hospital and this was, according to everybody, probably going to be her last Christmas, I'd fucking be at the hospital with her.
At least, like, have somebody hanging out with her.
Yeah.
Like, if she doesn't have parents around and stuff like that, that nurse literally does come in, take her temperature, and she's like, all right, bye. Hang out with Amanda. Like,
Dylan, let me ask you this.
Yeah, go for it.
Were you familiar with, this is the only time I've ever heard about this, but there's whole like Wikipedia pages and books about it. Yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus.
No, a very unfamiliar. I just thought like it was pulled from something that we had just missed or something.
Apparently, it is a editorial from like the early 1900s where some girl wrote to the Dear Abby or whatever, a girl named Virginia, that said that all the kids at school make fun of her because she believes in Santa Claus and that she's starting to think that Santa's not real. And I want to read this paragraph. It's like a multiple paragraph thing, but they read this paragraph twice in this episode. Mr. Foley reads it and then it shows up at the end. And I just think it is so beautiful and sums up why we love Christmas so much.
Yeah.
And we'll see if I can get through this without crying because it is very beautifully written. But it says, yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus. He exists as certain as love and generosity and devotion exist. And you know that they abound and give to your life its highest beauty and joy. Alas, how dreary would the world be if there were no Santa Claus? It would be as dreary as if there were no Virginias. There would be no childlike faith then, no poetry, no romance to make tolerable this existence. We should have no enjoyment except in sense and sight. The eternal light in which childhood fills the world would be extinguished. Like, I love that. I think that that's why, you know, when we get into November, December, we're talking about Santa like he's as real as you and me because it's the feeling of Santa. It's the emotion of Santa.
Spirit. It's the magic. It's the ending of Scrooged, right? It's that one time a year where everybody's just a little bit nicer. That is Santa Claus to me. Like that.
Yeah.
It's that embodiment of the spirit of the season.
Do you like to laugh, geek out on music, and learn all about that band or artist who had that one song back in the day, but then seemed to fall off the face of the earth? If so, you need to subscribe to One Hit Thunder. Together with an array of interesting and hilarious guests, we do a weekly dive into one-hit wonders like Eiffel 65's Blue, Krayshawn's Gucci Gucci, EMF's Unbelievable, Delamitri's Roll to Me, Los Del Rio's Macarena, Musical Youth's Pass the Dutchie, and even Patrick Swayze's She's Like the Wind. So are you subscribed to One Hit Thunder or what? As Desiree would say, you gotta be. And as K7 would encourage, you gotta come, baby, come and join in on the fun of the One Hit Thunder podcast.
Come, baby, come, baby, baby, come, come. Come, baby, come, baby, baby, come.
We're making an ad.
Napping ads.
I hear that Gary Sinise is free.
Oh, okay, great.
He hasn't worked since 2020.
So, what would be the script that we would have Gary Sinise say for the Napping Through Happy Hour podcast?
Listen to this damn show. Damn it.
The Napping Through Happy Hour podcast brought to you by Geekscape.
Real life, real drama, real time.
I'm Gary Sinise.
That's the ad. That's the ad. That's the ad.
Well, let's talk about where this episode peaks real quick, and then we'll talk about where it starts to lose it again.
Cool.
So Alf finds out that Tiffany is dying.
Yes.
He goes back to talk to her. There is some beautiful moments. One of the moments that always gets me choked up is she has a drawing of herself, and he just says, "You have wings," in this drawing, and she tries to explain, and he doesn't let her explain, and he just goes, "You look beautiful with them." Like it's like the
so
sweetness of this conversation. And that's what I said. I said, you can tell that this comes from real conversations he had with a Make-A-Wish kid because it feels authentic. It feels authentic with what the girl is saying, and it feels authentic with the way that you as an adult in that situation would try to handle it as well. Of like, don't focus on the negative stuff. Just be sincere and kind and talk about the beauty. And like, you know, when she starts talking about like, what if I go to another world and it's Christmas there all the time?
Oh, bro, that started fucking me up because
but
when
then
Al started talking about like that he comes from another world and stuff, because this is the moment like he's gone and he comes back and he's explaining that I'm a boy. I'm a man alien thing named Alf. And I come from another world. And then like she starts referencing that like she's going to be going to another world. And I'm like, whoa, dude, like this is way too much for the Alf special Christmas. Because we're also not even close to like where this thing is going.
No, so then he essentially just makes her feel okay about
Yes.
what's happening to her, and he leaves, and now he's just like, I got to get out of this fucking hospital.
Yeah.
And in an attempt to get out of this hospital, Al, through just the most insane circumstances, gets stuck in an elevator with a woman in labor.
Dude, it's absolutely mind-boggling.
Which, like, just first off, I mean, obviously I'm a man. I'll never go through this, but I
Yeah.
can't imagine as a woman being trapped by yourself in an elevator that is stuck while you are in labor. Like, how much
That
anxiety
might be
and
the
nightmare,
most horrifying situation someone can be in. Like, that's a possible situation.
yeah. But good news.
Yeah, Alf is there, so that's
Dr.
cool.
Alf is there to birth this baby.
So this shit is insane, okay? So this set of characters shows up for 5 minutes or 5 to 10 minutes out of this 47-minute special. The husband's losing his fucking mind because his wife's about to have a baby. So she does end up getting stuck in this elevator with Alf. And you're like, well, what the hell's going to happen here? So Alf, of course, dons a doctor's outfit, pops his head out. She's not super concerned about it.
Well, she starts screaming when she
Well,
first
she does
sees
start
him.
screaming, but like she's not like. Listen, if you saw an alien just start speaking to you, 5 minutes later, you are not going to be like, "Oh, me and this alien are cool now." Like,
Yeah, we're buddies.
yeah, we're like we're bros.
Off camera,
Yes,
Alf helps this baby get born somehow.
in a matter of minutes.
In a matter of minutes, and I wrote down, this is one of the grossest notes I ever wrote down, but I wrote, I'd like to imagine that off camera Alf bit the umbilical cord, because like what else could he
Dude,
have possibly
this-
done to do it?
It
Like,
literally I don't even remember where like how
it just
the
jumps
scene
back.
switches. Yeah,
It's like a commercial
it
break.
literally goes away,
Like,
jumps back, the baby's born. She's
Yeah.
smiling, he's like holding the baby. It's super clean. Like this baby
Oh, the
looked like
cleanest
it
baby
just
it's ever
got
been.
out of a bathtub. All right. And this is what always blows my mind about these shows, like when a character gives birth to a child. You didn't have a name ready?
no.
Like you didn't have a name picked out?
Well,
Even
I'll tell
considering
you.
it?
I'll tell you this.
Yeah.
Listener of the podcast, my friend Lauren,
Yes.
her and her husband, for their second baby, decided that they didn't want to know the sex of the baby until the baby was born.
Okay.
And they had their list of names, like, okay,
Yeah.
if it's a boy, here's like 5 name options. If it's a girl, here's 5 name options. And then what happened was they looked at the baby and were like, none of those names make sense with this baby that we're looking at. Like, and they literally had to, so for like 2 days, their baby didn't have a name because
Yeah.
they kind of went back to the drawing board to find a name that they felt was fitting. I was the first to visit and I kept suggesting Matt. Which did end up being his middle name. His middle name's Matthew.
That's adorable.
So, I pulled that off.
This moment where he's just like, "What about Tiffany?" And she's like, "That's a beautiful name.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna
this
run
is-
that by like the other people
hus-
involved, like my
Nope.
husband. Nope, you're right, alien doctor. Tiffany is correct. That's beautiful.
It's cute, but it doesn't have the emotional weight that I think the creators thought, like,
No.
oh my God, this baby's going to be named Tiffany, tears aplenty. I'm just like, oh, that's
No.
cute. The other part that I have to laugh at,
Yes.
because it, to me, is outrageous, right?
Yes.
Is that George Foley, the person that we've been following, who's shown up dressed like Santa Claus and all this stuff, he gives a letter to the Tanners and says, don't open it until tomorrow. He also gives a donation to the hospital that he says, don't open until tomorrow. No one listens to them when
Nobody
they open
listens
it.
to them at all. They're like, he's
So
gone?
he's given, so he's given the Tanners a deed to the cabin that they're staying at, which seems crazy because even Willie's like, I don't know this man.
Yeah.
But then also the doctor's like, hey, when someone gives a donation of this size, it sets off some red flags. Like, it's not an even number. It seems like your life savings. Like, he's driving home what I think he knows, which is, I think you're about to kill yourself.
Yeah.
But then he says, I want you to come back here the day after tomorrow when we're going to talk about this. It's like, motherfucker, he's clearly about to kill himself tonight. Like why are you just not, George,
why don't
sit
you
down with
spend
me in the
Christmas
office.
with
Let's
us?
talk this out. Yeah, like something. It's like, listen, George, I'm really worried. I think you might be suicidal. So after I finish doing all the great Christmas stuff with my family, I want us to have a talk about how we can make things better for you in the future.
Once you go hang out in your cabin by yourself, we're going to...
Yeah, like, but George, maybe named George Foley because it's supposed to remind us of George Bailey from It's a Wonderful Life.
Think?
Who knows?
It's gotta be.
He pulls his truck off on a bridge. He's about to jump off the bridge.
Alf,
and
inexplicably dressed like Santa now.
Just shows up dressed like Santa.
No reason. He's in the back of the truck. At some point, he's not in his doctor's outfit anymore. And then in the back of the truck, he's in the Santa costume.
Listen, and here's the thing. We're going to make fun of this scene a little bit, but I must say, it is very difficult for me to not get a little teary-eyed when anybody is reminding someone how much they matter to other people.
Yeah.
And like Alf does a bunch of bits where you're like, Alf, get to the fucking point. And George jumps to the conclusion that this is the actual Santa Claus, like,
yes,
way too quickly.
Yes,
like he's just like, long face, bowl full of jelly, belly full of jelly. Like you're Santa Claus, and
I
Alf's
think you
just
said
like
beard.
Yeah, beard.
Like, what?
And Alf's just like, yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah.
And then Alf starts to explain, like, as Santa, maybe back in the old days I could visit every house, but I can't. I'm at an executive level now, and I hire people who I think will spread the love of Christmas. And he's like, you don't realize how many people today alone that you've spread the joy of Christmas to. Like, you're one of the best people that I have on my staff, and I can't possibly go on with it. Listen, if I was thinking about killing myself and the actual Santa Claus came and told me how much joy I was spreading, there ain't no way I'm following through on the suicide at that point. You know what I mean?
No,
so it's not a bad plan.
And
but
it's not a bad plan. And I want to preface this with, we're not making fun of this scene to make fun of the topic of the scene.
It's how it's handled.
It's how
it's just handled
It's
outrageously.
Absolutely fucking insane. It's so strange to me how this and Garfield get to this point of sadness in a Christmas special. That's I don't know. I get it. But fuck, man, this shit gets wild.
It's a lot.
While the ending is audibly uplifting, this ends on such a downer.
Boy, does it. So it ends where it should end, right? Like,
yes.
Alf coming down the chimney, dangling upside down, and the whole Tanner family's just like, hey, it's Alf.
Yes.
Like, we didn't need anything else.
No,
it's very clear that everyone is where they need to be, and that's fine.
Yep, it should.
But we get this.
It's Christmas Day. Like, we're setting up our gifts and stuff like that. Look, Alf is here, guys. We really love each other, right? Yeah. And then it should end. But
instead, we get this post-credit scene, which I did like. If all it was this quick 30-second scene of George bonding with Tiffany, fine.
Yes.
Like, I'll accept it. Like, it's like, hey, like, he's going to spend more time around the hospital with the sick kids, and he's going to, like, be a parent figure to these lonely kids or whatever. That's perfect. Then the Tanners walk in, and they're just like, hi, are you Tiffany? We have a mutual friend, and then show the photo of Alf, and then they're just like, you should look out the window. And dude, Dylan, I can't explain.
So horrifying.
I can't explain how embarrassing it is that I cried as hard as I cried because you get this triple attack of a super sad version of Silent Night. No dialogue as this dying girl and Alf just look and wave sadly at each other. And then you get the replay of the Yes Virginia speech, and it's all too much.
But
it's too much.
You missed the one part. I don't know if you remember this. She looks at him and goes, "I love you, Alf."
Oh no.
Yeah, dude, go back and watch it. It's literally like the last moment before the Virginia speech happens. She's like, "I love you, Alf." Meanwhile, Alf's looking up like, like Dude, when she's like, look out the window, and he's just sticking his head out the fucking car window.
As if no one could drive by and see like this alien creature
But
staring
it's
out the
also like,
window.
this alien's been in the hospital already. Put him in the fucking Santa costume. He's just Saint Nick again. Why is George dressed as Santa Claus again? Remember, nobody in this fucking show is smart enough to realize that that's an alien. Like,
Oh my God. I love that Tiffany doesn't connect the dots, but she's like, your voice is really familiar to me, George. And he's like, yeah, that's weird. Hand me that wrench.
and then she hands her pliers. He's like, that's close enough.
That's going to work. Well, Dylan, I've been threatening this one since we started the podcast.
Have, and I promise it does not make me want to go back and watch all of ALF. But I will say, like, I'm so genuinely curious how this episode played, like, on television. I'm not, like, super familiar with ads at the time or promos for the next week. But I'm like, in my head...
Oh, we got to look this up.
My head, I'm like... This episode ends with that sad note, and they're all like, next week on ALF, the family plays charades?
Holy shit.
Like, because that's how the next episode opens. Because I let it play. Like,
you're like, I just got to see.
I had to see. The episode ends with this girl, I love you, Alf. And then they're playing charades in the next episode. I loved when sitcoms had just like a super, super sad episode.
Yeah.
And then the next week, everything's honky-dory. We're back to normal.
Well, Dylan, you're my Santa Claus buddy.
Oh my God. You're my Amanda buddy.
Oh, whoa, oh, now we won't stop till the big ball drops on New Year's. Happy holiday, have a great holiday, have a merry happy holiday.
Do you like to laugh, geek out on music, and learn all about that band or artist who had that one song back in the day, but then seemed to fall off the face of the earth? If so, you need to subscribe to One Hit Thunder. Together with an array of interesting and hilarious guests, we do a weekly dive into one-hit wonders like Eiffel 65's Blue, Krayshawn's Gucci Gucci, EMF's Unbelievable, Delamitri's Roll to Me, Los Del Rio's Macarena, Musical Youth's Pass to Dutchie, and even Patrick Swayze's She's Like the Wind. So are you subscribed to One Hit Thunder or what? As Desiree would say, you gotta be. And as K7 would encourage, you gotta come baby come and join in on the fun of the One Hit Thunder podcast.
Come baby, come baby, baby, come. Come baby, come baby, come.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.